Right this way. You can grab that booth right there. I'll be right over with your water.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
What would you give up to find someone who loves you for you? Tyler Harrison had everything: billions in the bank, penthouse views, power that made Wall Street tremble. But every woman saw the same thing: dollar signs. So he did the unthinkable. He vanished. Became a broke waiter in Charleston, living paycheck to paycheck in a cramped studio. Then she walked in, Sarah, a kindergarten teacher with a smile that felt like home. For 3 months, he finally felt seen, loved real. Until he saw her at a yacht club with his worst enemy, laughing over champagne. She knew. Or did she? Because what Sarah revealed that night would shatter everything he thought he knew about love, loyalty, and his father's death. Tyler Harrison stood at the floor-to-ceiling windows of his penthouse, staring at the glittering Manhattan skyline that stretched endlessly before him. 20 stories below, the city pulsed with life. Taxis honking, people rushing to somewhere that mattered. But up here, in this $20 million apartment filled with Italian marble and custom furniture, Tyler had never felt more alone. His phone buzzed on the granite countertop. Another message from Victoria. "We need to talk about the prenup." He didn't bother reading the rest. Victoria, the woman he'd spent the last 8 months with, the woman he'd introduced to his mother, the woman he thought might finally be different, had just revealed her true colors 3 hours ago over dinner at Per Se. She'd looked him dead in the eye and said, "Let's be honest, Tyler. You're not exactly husband material, but your bank account is." The words had hit him like a freight train. Not because they were cruel, but because they were honest. Brutally, devastatingly honest. Tyler was 32 years old and worth $1.3 billion. He'd built Harrison Tech, from his college dorm room, into one of the fastest-growing software companies in America. Forbes called him a visionary. Wall Street called him a genius. But every woman he'd ever dated called him one thing: a wallet. He walked to his bedroom and pulled out a duffel bag from the closet. His hands moved mechanically: jeans, t-shirts, a jacket. Nothing designer. Nothing that screamed money. His Rolex came off his wrist and landed on the bed with a soft thud. The Gucci loafers were replaced with old Nikes he'd kept from college. Tyler looked at himself in the mirror. Without the watch, the tailored suit, the confident posture of a man who owned boardrooms, he looked ordinary. Forgettable. Free. He grabbed his phone and texted his assistant. "Cancel everything for the next 3 months. Don't contact me unless someone's dying." Then he bought a one-way bus ticket to Charleston, South Carolina. A city where nobody knew his name, his face, or his fortune. Within 48 hours, Tyler Harrison, billionaire CEO, ceased to exist. Charleston hit Tyler like a warm, humid hug the moment he stepped off the Greyhound bus. The air smelled like salt water and fried food, and the pace of life moved at half the speed of Manhattan. He'd found a tiny studio apartment above a laundromat on Cummings Street. $600 a month, peeling wallpaper, and a window unit that rattled like it had asthma. It was perfect. Getting a job was easier than he'd expected. Rosie's Diner on King Street was a local institution: red vinyl booths, a jukebox that only played songs from the 70s, and an owner named Rosie who looked like she'd seen every kind of person walk through her doors. Tyler had walked in with a fake resume, claiming he'd worked at diners in Atlanta and needed a fresh start. Rosie had looked him up and down, her eyes sharp and knowing. "You running from the law or a woman?" "Neither," Tyler had said. "Just life." She'd hired him on the spot. The first week was brutal. Tyler's feet ached in ways he didn't know were possible. He burned himself on hot plates, mixed up orders, and got yelled at by a regular named Earl who insisted his eggs had to be exactly 3 minutes soft-boiled, not a second more. Tyler had gone to Harvard Business School, negotiated deals worth hundreds of millions, but he'd never felt more incompetent than when he was carrying a tray of pancakes. But there was something liberating about it. Nobody asked him about quarterly earnings or stock prices. Nobody wanted anything from him except a refill on their coffee. He was just Tyler, a waiter trying to make rent. 3 weeks in, on a Thursday afternoon when the rain was coming down in sheets, the door chimed and she walked in. Sarah Mitchell. She was soaked, her brown hair plastered to her face, her jeans splattered with what looked like finger paint. She was laughing, actually laughing, as she shook the rain off her jacket. Tyler watched from behind the counter as she slid into a booth by the window, pulling out a stack of construction paper and crayons from her bag. "Rough day?" Tyler asked as he approached with a menu. Sarah looked up, and her smile was the kind that reached her eyes. The best kind of rough. My kindergartners decided to have a paint war during art class. I'm pretty sure I have glitter in places glitter should never be. Tyler laughed, a real laugh, the kind he hadn't felt in months. What can I get you? She scanned the menu and pointed to the cheapest item. The breakfast special, please. And coffee. Lots of coffee. Over the next 3 months, Sarah became a regular. She came in every Tuesday and Thursday after school, always ordering the same thing, always leaving notes on her napkins. The first one said, "You're gonna do amazing things someday." Tyler had kept it in his pocket for a week. They started talking. Really talking. Sarah told him about her students. Little Emma, who was learning to read, Marcus, who brought her dandelions every morning, Sophia, who wanted to be an astronaut. She talked about her late mother, who'd been a teacher too, and how she believed that kindness was the most important thing you could teach a child. Tyler told her about his dreams, carefully edited versions of his real life. He said he wanted to start his own business someday, that he was saving up, that he believed in working hard for what you wanted. "I think that's beautiful," Sarah had said one evening as the sun set through the diner windows. "Too many people just want things handed to them. You're different." Tyler's chest had tightened. If only she knew. By month 3, they were inseparable. Sundays became their day. They'd drive to Folly Beach in Sarah's beat-up Honda Civic, walk barefoot in the sand, and talk about everything and nothing. Sarah would collect seashells and make up stories about where they came from. Tyler would watch her, wondering how someone so genuine could exist in a world that had felt so fake for so long. One Sunday, as they sat watching the waves, Sarah turned to him. "Can I tell you something?" "Anything," Tyler said. "I've been hurt before. Really hurt. I dated this guy who... He wasn't who I thought he was. He lied about everything, who he was, what he wanted. It broke something in me." She looked at Tyler, her eyes vulnerable. "But you feel real. Like what I see is what I get. That means everything to me." Tyler's heart shattered and soared at the same time. He reached for her hand. "Sarah, there's something I need to tell you." But his phone buzzed. A text from his assistant. "Emergency. James Cooper is making a move on the Singapore deal. Need you back." Tyler silenced his phone. "It's nothing. Just spam." He'd tell her. He'd tell her everything. This Saturday, he'd plan the perfect evening, come clean about who he really was, and pray that she'd understand. But Friday changed everything. The next few days felt like a dream Tyler never wanted to wake up from. Every moment with Sarah felt precious, like he was living a life he'd only read about in books. They weren't just falling in love, they were building something real, something that had nothing to do with money or status, or what either of them could offer beyond themselves. On Monday, Sarah brought him homemade cookies she'd baked with her class. They were lopsided and oversugared, and Tyler ate 3 of them while she laughed at the crumbs on his apron. On Wednesday, they stayed after the diner closed, and Sarah taught him how to make paper cranes while the jukebox played Fleetwood Mac. Her fingers were patient as she showed him each fold, and when his crane looked more like a crumpled napkin, she'd kissed his cheek and said, "It's perfect because you made it." Thursday night, they sat in his tiny apartment, the one with the rattling air conditioner and the view of the laundromat, and Sarah didn't care. She curled up on his second-hand couch, her head on his shoulder, and said, "I love this. I love that you're not trying to impress me with fancy restaurants or expensive gifts. This feels honest." Tyler's throat tightened. "Sarah, I mean it," she continued, her voice soft. "I grew up without much. My mom was a single parent, worked 2 jobs to keep us afloat. She taught me that the best things in life aren't things at all. They're moments like this, with people who see you." Tyler wrapped his arm around her, pulling her closer. "You're incredible. You know that. So are you," she whispered. That night, Tyler made his decision. Saturday. He'd take her to Waterfront Park at sunset, the place where they'd had their first real conversation outside the diner. He'd tell her everything, who he really was, why he'd come to Charleston, and that every moment with her had been the most honest thing in his life. He'd tell her he loved her. Because he did. Desperately. Friday morning, Tyler woke up with a sense of purpose he hadn't felt in years. He went to work at the diner with a smile that made Rosie raise an eyebrow. "You're either in love or you won the lottery," she said. "Maybe both," Tyler replied. But at 6:47 p.m., his phone buzzed with a message that made his blood run cold. It was from James Cooper, his former business partner, The man who'd tried to sabotage Harrison Tech 2 years ago. The man Tyler had spent millions in legal fees to remove from the company. The message contained a single photo and one word. Interesting. Tyler's hands shook as he opened the image. It was Sarah. She was at the Charleston Yacht Club, wearing a black designer dress Tyler had never seen. Her hair was styled, her makeup flawless. And she was laughing, with James Cooper, champagne glasses raised in a toast. Tyler's world tilted. The phone nearly slipped from his hands. No, this couldn't be real. He zoomed in on the photo. It was definitely her. Definitely James. And they looked comfortable, like they knew each other. Another text came through. She's good, Harrison. I'll give you that. Almost had me fooled too. Tyler's chest constricted. He couldn't breathe. The diner walls felt like they were closing in. She knew. She'd known all along who he was. This whole thing, the sweet smiles, the homemade cookies, the paper cranes, the talks about honesty, it was all an act. A setup. James had sent her to humiliate him, to prove that even when Tyler tried to hide, even when he stripped away everything, he was still just a target. Tyler left the diner without a word, ignoring Rosie's concerned calls. He walked through Charleston streets in a daze, his mind replaying every moment with Sarah, searching for the cracks, the lies, the signs he'd missed. How could he have been so stupid? So naive? He'd given her everything, his trust, his heart, his truth, and she'd been playing him the entire time. That night, Tyler didn't sleep. He sat in his apartment, staring at the paper crane Sarah had made for him, the one she'd said was perfect because you made it. He wanted to crush it, throw it away, burn every reminder of her. But he couldn't, because even now, even knowing what he knew, part of him didn't want to believe it. Saturday morning arrived with cruel sunshine. Tyler's phone had 17 missed calls from Sarah and a dozen texts. Where are you? Are you okay? Tyler, please talk to me. Did I do something wrong? He didn't respond. Instead, he did what he should have done from the beginning. He investigated. Tyler still had access to resources, even in Charleston. One call to his head of security, and within 2 hours, he had a file on Sarah Mitchell. But the file only made things worse. Sarah had met James Cooper 4 months ago at a charity gala in Charleston, 1 month before Tyler had even arrived in the city. There were photos of them together at various events, emails, phone records showing dozens of calls between them. Tyler felt sick, but there was something else in the file. Something that didn't make sense. Sarah had filed a restraining order against James 6 weeks ago. It had been denied due to insufficient evidence, but the request was there, documented and official. Tyler's mind raced. Why would she file a restraining order against someone she was working with? Unless. His phone rang. It was Sarah. This time, he answered. Tyler. Thank God. Her voice was frantic, breathless. Where have you been? I've been so worried. Cut the act, Sarah, Tyler said, his voice cold. I know. Silence. Know what? Her voice was small now, confused. I saw you. At the yacht club. With James Cooper. More silence. Then a shaky breath. Tyler, please. Let me explain. It's not what you think. Really? Because it looks pretty clear to me. How long have you known who I am? Was any of it real, or was this all just some sick game? Tyler. No, her voice broke. Please. Meet me. Let me explain. I'm begging you. Tyler wanted to hang up. Wanted to block her number and disappear again. But something in her voice, the raw desperation, the fear, made him hesitate. Waterfront Park, he said. 1 hour. He hung up before she could respond. Tyler arrived at Waterfront Park early, positioning himself by the pineapple fountain where he and Sarah had sat weeks ago, talking about dreams and second chances. The irony wasn't lost on him. When Sarah arrived, she looked nothing like the polished woman in the yacht club photo. Her eyes were red and swollen, her hair pulled back in a messy ponytail. She wore the same paint-stained jeans from the day they'd met. She stopped a few feet away from him, her hands trembling. Talk, Tyler said. Sarah's eyes filled with tears. I didn't know it was you. Don't lie to me. I'm not lying. Her voice cracked. Tyler, I swear on my mother's grave, I had no idea you were Tyler Harrison until 3 days ago. Tyler's jaw clenched. Then explain the yacht club. Explain James Cooper. Sarah wrapped her arms around herself, like she was trying to hold herself together. James, he's been stalking me for 4 months. It started after I rejected him at a charity event. He wouldn't take no for an answer. He showed up at my school, my apartment, sent me gifts I never asked for. I filed a restraining order, but they said I didn't have enough proof. That doesn't explain why you were having champagne with him, Tyler shot back. Because he threatened me. Sarah's voice rose, desperate. 3 days ago, he called me and said if I didn't meet him, he'd hurt someone I cared about. He said he knew about you, about us. He sent me photos of you at the diner, of us at the beach. He knew everything, Tyler. I went to that yacht club to tell him to leave us alone, to leave you alone. Tyler's resolve wavered. Why didn't you tell me? Because I didn't know who you were. Tears streamed down her face now. I thought you were just Tyler, the waiter with big dreams. I didn't know you were Tyler Harrison, billionaire CEO. I didn't know James was your enemy. I just knew he was dangerous, and I was trying to protect you. Tyler's heart hammered in his chest. How did you find out? Sarah pulled out her phone with shaking hands and showed him a text from James. Does your poor waiter boyfriend know he's actually a billionaire? Does he know his daddy's death wasn't an accident? Ask him about the Singapore deal. Ask him who really killed Richard Harrison. Tyler's blood turned to ice. What? Sarah's voice dropped to a whisper. James told me things about your father's death. About a cover-up. About people in your company who wanted him gone. He said you were in danger, that the same people who killed your father are coming for you. Tyler staggered backward. His father had died 5 years ago in a car accident. At least, that's what everyone had been told. But there had always been questions, inconsistencies that Tyler had buried himself in work to avoid confronting. Why would James tell you this? Tyler asked, his voice hoarse. Because he wants something from you, Sarah said. He said if you don't give him back his shares in Harrison Tech, he'll expose everything. He'll destroy your company and everyone in it. She stepped closer, her eyes pleading. Tyler, I came to Charleston to warn you. But then I met you at the diner, and I fell in love with you, the real you, not the billionaire, not the CEO. Just you. And I didn't know how to tell you any of this without sounding insane. Tyler's mind was spinning. Everything he thought he knew was crumbling. How do I know you're telling the truth? He whispered. Sarah reached into her bag and pulled out a folder. Because I've been investigating James for weeks. I have proof, emails, documents, recordings of his threats. I was going to give this to you tonight. I was going to tell you everything. Tyler took the folder with numb hands. Inside were printed emails between James and unknown parties, discussing the Harrison problem and eliminating obstacles. There were financial records showing suspicious transactions from Harrison Tech accounts. And there, at the bottom, was a police report from 5 years ago about his father's accident, with notes suggesting the brake lines had been tampered with. Tyler's legs gave out. He sat down hard on the park bench. Sarah knelt in front of him, her hands gently covering his. I know this is overwhelming. I know you have no reason to trust me. But Tyler, I love you. I love the man who makes terrible paper cranes and burns toast, and talks about his dreams like they're the most important things in the world. I don't care about your money. I never did. Tyler looked into her eyes, those same eyes that had seen him, really seen him, when no one else ever had. I was going to tell you tonight, he said quietly, about who I really am. I was going to come clean. I know, Sarah whispered, because you're a good person. That's why I fell in love with you. Tyler pulled her into his arms, holding her like she was the only solid thing in a world that had just turned upside down. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I didn't trust you. You had every reason not to, she said against his chest. But we're here now, and whatever happens next, whatever we have to face, we face it together. If you'll have me. Tyler pulled back to look at her, brushing tears from her cheeks. Sarah Mitchell, you're the only real thing that's happened to me in years. I'm not letting you go. As the sun began to set over Charleston Harbor, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, Tyler and Sarah sat together on that park bench, the folder of evidence between them, like a bridge between two worlds, the life Tyler had run from and the life he'd found. What are you going to do? Sarah asked softly. Tyler stared at the documents, at the proof that his father's death hadn't been an accident, that people he'd trusted had betrayed him, that James Cooper was just one piece of a much larger conspiracy. I don't know, he admitted. Part of me wants to burn it all down, go back to New York, expose everyone, make them pay for what they did. And the other part? Tyler looked at her. The other part wants to stay here. Keep working at Rosie's Diner. Keep living in that apartment above the laundromat. Keep falling in love with a kindergarten teacher who makes terrible cookies and believes in paper cranes. Sarah laughed through her tears. My cookies aren't that bad. They're pretty bad, Tyler said with a small smile. They sat in silence for a moment, watching the sun dip lower. You can't run forever, Sarah finally said. Your father deserves justice. And those people, they'll keep hurting others if someone doesn't stop them. I know, Tyler whispered. But you don't have to face it alone. Sarah squeezed his hand. I meant what I said. Whatever happens next, we face it together. Tyler turned to her, his eyes searching hers. This won't be easy. Going back means danger. It means my life becomes public again. It means you'll be dragged into a world of lawyers and media and people who will try to use you to get to me. I'm a kindergarten teacher who got stalked by a psychopath and fell in love with a billionaire in disguise, Sarah said with a wry smile. I think I can handle it. Tyler laughed, a real, genuine laugh that felt like sunlight breaking through clouds. You're incredible. So I've been told, she teased. Tyler stood, pulling Sarah up with him. They walked to the edge of the park where the water lapped against the seawall, the city lights beginning to twinkle in the growing darkness. I need to go back, Tyler said, his voice steady now. I need to find out the truth about my father. I need to protect my company and everyone who works for me. And I need to make sure James Cooper never hurts anyone again. Okay, Sarah said simply. But I'm not going back as the person I was before, Tyler continued. That guy, the one who measured his worth in stock prices and board meetings, he was lost. You helped me find something real. Something that matters. Sarah leaned her head against his shoulder. So what now? Tyler pulled out his phone and made a call. It rang twice before his assistant answered, shock evident in her voice. Mr. Harrison? Sir, we've been trying to reach you. I know, Tyler interrupted. I need you to do something for me. Schedule an emergency board meeting for Monday morning. Tell them I'm coming back, and I'm bringing evidence of corporate espionage and conspiracy. And get me the best investigative team money can buy. I want everything on James Cooper and anyone connected to my father's death. Yes, sir. Right away. Tyler hung up and looked at Sarah. Last chance to run. She smiled, standing on her tiptoes to kiss him. I'm not going anywhere. As they walked hand in hand back through Waterfront Park, past the fountain where they'd shared dreams and the benches where they'd fallen in love, Tyler felt something he hadn't felt in years: hope. The road ahead would be difficult. There would be battles to fight, truths to uncover, and people who would try to tear them apart. But for the first time in his life, Tyler wasn't facing the world alone. He had found something more valuable than any fortune, more precious than any empire. He had found real love, and together, they would face whatever came next. The camera pulls back as Tyler and Sarah disappear into the Charleston evening, two silhouettes against the fading light, walking toward an uncertain future with nothing but each other and the truth. Because sometimes, the greatest wealth isn't what you have. It's who you have beside you when everything else falls away.